really central to not only what you're saying through illustration, but also to how you're saying it. As a visual communicator, we want to become influenced by the world around us, but one of the pitfalls that we have to avoid is how do we become inspired by somebody's work without becoming derivative of that work? In other words, how do we incorporate that work into our own so that it becomes authentic? Hi, my name is Brian Bose. I'm an illustrator, I'm an author. Welcome back to my studio. In this series of video, I'm going to work my way through an illustration challenge to create 3 illustrations for a local SCBWI contest that has a January 15th deadline to it. In the first video, I went over basically the starting block. How do we get there? How do we start moving, etc. And now I've got an idea, and the natural next step is to start to gather resources and start to pull things together so that I can begin to expand on that idea a little bit more. And that brings us to this topic of becoming inspired by rather than derivative of. How do we start to incorporate our influences in an authentic way? So I'll begin with a brief story. When I was in school, I eschewed all influences. I was going to become a singular artist. I was going to become unlike anything else that the world had ever seen. But of course, we can't help but become influenced by the work that's around us. And I was taking art history classes and illustration history classes. Of course, that information made its way into me. But this idea that I wanted to become so unique, that I was going to stand apart from everything, it was really a stumbling block for me. It took me a long time to start to come around to this idea of integration of influences into my work. I think that with our influences, you want to become so influenced by so many different people and things that nobody can spot one. It really starts to feel like your own voice, because after all these things are flowing through you and they're going to come out in your unique way. So let's take a look at some of the tools and methods that I'm using to gather resources for this illustration challenge that I'm taking. One of the first places that I stopped was Pinterest. I don't know what the opposite of doom scrolling is, but I think it's Pinterest. What I'll usually do is create a Pinterest board that's specific for the project, and I'll start to gather things. It may be other illustrations, it might be different concepts or ideas. It could be anything from color palettes, just to vibe pictures, like what is the feeling that I'm going for here. So here you can see that I'm mostly going through other illustrators' works and things that are inspiring to me. And I believe it was looking at Larry McDougall's work, which is this book here. I realized, of course, I have the actual book. I could go look at the book. I don't know why that was second on the list, but there you go, actual books. So I went to my collection of books that I have, and I started to pull out some different books and things that I like. Of course, that's also a curated list of books. In that, I started to see, not only, of course, do I like anthropomorphic characters, but I started to get a sense for a softness that I wanted to bring into the work. And now this is a little bit more technique focused, which we will go into in the next video, foreshadowing. I like the gentleness about it, and I want to try and incorporate more of that into my own work. Another big area of inspiration for me is music. Create a playlist. In this case, it's on Spotify. Having a playlist helps me to get into the mood of what I'm doing, help me to sort of get my mind on the topic at hand. So after gathering all of this great information and really starting to marinate in it a little bit, it's time to start to apply it to my own story. In this case, I usually am working, again, either in my sketchbook or just on a clipboard with paper, partially because it's really transitory work. It's going to be something that just helps to get these ideas into my hands, helps me to start to get these ideas onto the page so that I can start to see them and integrate them in my own way. When we start to think about how to integrate these influences or ideas, I think it's important to first start to understand what it is that's attractive about them to us. So thanks for following along and making it to the end of the video. I'm curious to know, as you start to work through your process Do you have ways of integrating your influences, or have you seen your influences come up through your own work? I'd be curious to hear more about that in the comment section below. That being said, please do remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. The next video that I'm going to release in this series is really about experimentation. It's about getting my hands dirty and actually starting to make some physical work, which I'll share that process with you. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.